Gaius Julius Caesar de Bello Gallico, Episode 36. Caesar, quod memoria tenebat, Lucium Cassium consulem, occisum exercitumque eis ab Helvetiis pulsum et sub jugum missum, concedendum non putabat. As Caesar continues describing his own interactions with the Helvetii, he describes why he is going to reject their request to move through the province. Caesar, because he held in his memory that Lucius Cassius, the consul, had been killed, occisum, and that his army by the Helvetii had been driven back and sent under the yoke, he was not thinking non putabat, he was not thinking that it ought to be granted, namely their request, or as I would like to translate this, Caesar offered a hard pass on this request. So we begin with the subject, and that is Caesar, masculine, singular, and nominative, of course. It's a third declension noun. Because, so now we have a subordinate clause, and this will take us from a quod through missum, because tenebat. Now this is a third singular, imperfect, indicative, and active from the second conjugation verb teneo tenere, because he was holding in his memory, memoria. So memoria, feminine, singular, and ablative of instrument, ablativus instrumenti. And this introduces indirect statement, because he was holding in his memory that, so we have Lucium Cassium as our masculine, singular, accusative, subject of the infinitive. Now you may ask, where is the infinitive? Well, the infinitive that we want is esse, and we could supply it here after occisum, we could supply it here after pulsum, and we could supply it here after missum. Each one of these being a perfect passive infinitive, or just take it once, it doesn't really matter. The idea is implicit in each instance. Because Caesar was holding in his memory that Lucius Cassius, that's masculine singular accusative once again, then we have consulem in the same gender number and case, and this is going to be an appositive, not modifying, but restating by apposition, that Lucius Cassius the consul, occisum esse, had been killed. And the que there, so the que is connecting occisum and pulsum. Occisum is from third conjugation occido, occidere, like so, and pulsum is from third conjugation pello, pellere. And that his army, so exercitum, fourth declension noun, masculine singular accusative, eis referring back to Lucius Cassius, that his army had been driven back, pulsum, ab Helvetiis. Helvetiis is masculine plural, and this is going to be an ablative of agency, ablativus agentis. And secondly, so now this et connects pulsum and missum, and that his army, that is the army of Lucius Cassius, had been sent, missum, sub jugum, underneath the yoke, had been subjugated. So this was a ritual of humiliation. It was ritual humiliation. You can see here in the painting that the leaders of the Romans, they're being sent underneath this yoke right here in the image. Because of all of that, Caesar, concedendum non putabat, was not thinking that it ought to be granted. So concedendum is from the third conjugation verb concedo, concedere, and this is a gerundive. This is a gerundive. It's neuter, singular, and accusative, because what we have here is oratio obliqua introduced by putabat, and so we want to understand concedendum esse, and this entire construction is usually labeled by grammarians as a passive periphrastic. So we have a gerundive, we have a form of esse implicit in this instance, and it connotes necessity or obligation. He thought that it should not be granted. He took a hard pass. Now, the historical event in question took place in 107 BC, when Lucius Cassius and his army was overwhelmed and humiliated by the Helvetians, and Caesar's story is taking place in 58 BC. So this is before the birth of Caesar, as Caesar was born in 106, but his historical memory and the insult that he feels on behalf of the Roman people, he says, is the reason that he denies the Helvetii their request for a migration through the Roman province. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that free lesson. Please like and subscribe, hit the bell. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/LatinPerDiem. And if you really loved it, you can leave a tip right here as a super fan. Thank you so much.